Well, hey everyone, this is John Craig, and you are with me again this evening for Walking in Spirit and Truth. It's good to be with you. Yes, I'm broadcasting here from our sanctuary here at Life of Worship in Amarillo, Texas, and which there's just going to be a short time left before we're going to be moving to another location. So take it as it is. Here we are, but we've had a good time here, and we've been blessed, and we're in the process of moving, and we have back in the other side over there, there's lots of boxes already packed. Pastor Sandy's been doing a huge job in packing up. We had some ladies packing up the kitchen area, even more of the kitchen area today. And we also have, okay, y'all just pray. Y'all just pray. We need a place to move to. And so we're looking at options, and we're still waiting to hear back, and we're still looking at different things. I want to say that, hey, we thank you to everybody that has helped us with making this month's rent and also getting our storage caught up to date. That's all done. And utilities are almost all paid. So thank you so much. You guys have been doing great. And if you haven't had an opportunity to give, we're kind of trying to also set aside funds to help us with the move, because we'll have to get at least another storage unit. So we'll fill up the one that we have, because it was only partially empty. So we've got a lot of room in there. It's a big one, pretty large. And then we'll probably be getting another one. And we want to get out. We want to completely move out of this location, even though we still have another month left in it. And we'd like to be completely gone by the end of the month. That's our goal. That's what we're working towards. And it's a big thing. It's kind of exciting. And as someone mentioned before, it's like the cloud is moving. I think you said it, Tammy. The cloud is moving, and we're going with it. So we want to be in a place that, we want to be in a place that's blessed. We want to be in a place where it's ordained of Yah, and it'll a place that is even better than this facility that we have. And there's been certain things that are good about it, but it's not been not ideal for all of us. So that's what's going on in our present tense and in our near future, as Yah wills it. Also, by the way, I did want to say this about our website. Pastor Sandy was looking into it, and we were talking about it even earlier today. Y'all be praying about our website, because for some reason it has a DNS failure. So it's kind of like a denial of service, some type of failure. I don't know if it's related to the security certificate. That might be what it is. I don't know. I don't know exactly. But if you're using a laptop or a computer, it doesn't look like any of the browsers now are working on it. I was getting it to work on the Brave browser, but now that's not even working on it. So it is working on my device. So if you have a smartphone, you can still go to the Life of Worship Ministries. Life of Worship Amarillo.org, which you're seeing at the bottom of the screen. It is a real website, and it should be up. I mean, that one should still be working. Let me see. I actually pulled it up on DuckDuckGo on my smartphone, and I also pulled it up on Brave. So I'm going to do that right now. Life of Worship. There it is. And see what it does. Yeah, it's still there. So that's it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's still there. The navigation menu. So if you haven't had an opportunity, you're wanting to give, you can go there, hit that navigation menu, and it'll drop down. There's a donate button, and you select the donate button, and you'll go to this screen which says online giving, and down here at the bottom, right there in that yellow button, is a donate button, and that takes you over to going there slowly to the Life of Worship Ministries. Okay, I'll get it there. Yeah, Life of Worship Ministries connection online. That's if you're using like a digital. If you're using like a credit card, debit card, something like that, you want to give that way. I think if you're set up, you may be able to use like your bank account and do like an EFT and go that direction. Anyway, that's kind of some housekeeping things, and looking forward to seeing everybody on Shabbat as well. Torah portion at noon Central Time. and a couple hours there, and then followed by 3 p.m. Central Time, our encounter service, time of praise, worship, ministry, and followed by a message. And we put those up in 3 different streams, even though the encounter service is one service, but we split it into. That's for the sake of editing and mastering, and even sometimes it kind of gets bogged down if you get it. If it's too long or something like that. Anyway, it just makes it easier. But that's where we're at. Just follow us. If you want to join us on our Facebook, it's Life of Worship Amarillo or Life of Worship Ministries. I should know that, right? I should know that. And if you want to do that, we actually have that as a private group, and we did that for a reason. So if you want to be part, maybe it's just Life of Worship. I think it's just Life of Worship. Yeah, it's Life of Worship. And we did make it private. I'll just ask to join, and we'll add you to it. So that's over on Facebook. We used to do live broadcasts, by the way, through Facebook. And now we've just simply been linking from Facebook over to our Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel. And it's because Facebook changed one of their policies, and in order to broadcast live on Facebook. So we haven't been doing it that way as of right now. Okay, there we go. Enoch. We've been going through Enoch. If you're joining me for the first time tonight, we have a whole series of Enoch, and you got to go to the Life of Worship YouTube, Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel, Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel, because our Life of Worship Amarillo YouTube channel was taken down during the Big C era. And so we had to start a new one, and that's Life of Worship Ministries. And it's and we have a special one set up for walking in spirit and truth, and another one specifically for the series, Enoch, the Enoch series. We've had an adventure. We've been going through this thing as if we're like walking with Enoch, as Enoch is going with these angelic figures. And, you know, they're escorting him to all these different places, and he's hearing these parables. He's seeing the Most High. He's going up to heaven where it's built out of crystal. I mean, it's beautiful. There's myriads and myriads of angels. We've had these encounters with these giants and then the fallen ones. We've gone through all of that. We've seen like the judgment in the future. We've seen the judgment in the past, like the Great Flood. We have seen a lot of different things in this journey. We're going to continue today, and there's explanation going on, like different functions of the world. And when we have these different functions of the world and how the world works and how the Father put things into places, a lot of times we have like really good, sound scientific knowledge and understanding of everything. And Enoch is going to share some things with us that it's different. Oh, a different way of looking, like how does the wind happen, or the lightning and the thunder, and why do they always go together? Or what about the dew or the snow or the hail? Or we're gonna go into that tonight. And you think, well, what does that really matter? Because I think what's really being emphasized here as we go through this is, and I'm telling you, I remember back in the 1980s. Remember the big angel movement that was going on, like the New Agers back in the 1980s? I mean, are you with me? I mean, if you were alive in the 1980s, I was like, I came out of high school, I was in college, came out of college, and then got married and all that sort of. I was in the 80s, and there was a big push. You go to a bookstore, and there's a book on angels this and angels that, and all this sort of stuff. And the New Age really took captive the idea and the messaging of angels. And well, of course, back then, what did the church do? What did Christianity do? What did all of the religious leaders, Christian leaders, what did they do when they heard all of the talk about angels? Because it was coming from the New Agers, there was a knee-jerk reaction, and so there was a lot of negativity about it, and it's like here the enemy took these biblical concepts. In fact, they were probably reading from the book of Enoch. They were probably, looking at all sorts of, I'm sure, all different types of religious writings from around the world. And, and they were kind of coming up with their theology of angels. And in fact, a lot of people became believers since then, but brought with them this angel theology, and a lot of it was kind of wrong, because it was new agey, and it was coming from non-biblical sources, and you say, well, what about the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that sorts? Well, I would really say that this came from the perspective of believers when they're talking about angels, and even Enoch, because he's talking about angels and these responsibilities that they were given. But we've seen twistings and turns of that, and even to the point of, have you seen the advertisements of this movie called IF? IF, Imaginary Friends. And of course, here's, the main character, and he's walking around with these cartoon characters, talking about, children when they're growing up, they go through a period of imaginary friends, and as if, and making as that they have eyes to see these imaginary friends, and they're actually imaginary friends. And I couldn't help but to think that there's the demonic delusion that comes with, even movies like that, trying to soften the idea that a familiar spirit would try to befriend a child in its innocence, and in order to entice that child into evil later on in their life. And so, or angel worship, or, all these different things, because, it's not a very far jump to have an imaginary friend and then have the so-called guardian angels, which there are guardian angels according to scripture. But from a new agey perspective, the only thing that I can think of is that this is some type of demonic entity that is really just a counterfeit angel. It is acting as if it is a good angel, when in reality there is some more sinister relationship that angelic being wants to have. And I mean, I've seen even Christian groups here in the recent past, and they'll be on a little prayer walk at night, and they have their lights, flashlights, maybe some type of lanterns or whatever, and and they're walking, and they're going down the street, and they're praying and worshiping and all that sort of stuff. And then there's a picture, someone's taking a picture with their cell phone camera, or maybe a regular camera, and it has a flash, and the flash picks up these images that are floating in the air. And no one sees it when they're walking down the street, but all of a sudden they go back and study all these photos. Go, look at these orbs. Look at these orbs that are surrounding us as we're walking down the street, and these are angelic orbs. And I'm thinking, oh no, please don't go there. Don't do that. And when in reality is, I've taken pictures before when there's low light and you use a flash. I mean, I even if I'm in a body shop, and there's a lot of dust in the air in a body shop. Why? Because there's sandy body filler, and it kind of gets up in the air. It kind of goes into all the different rooms of the facility, and the garage, and wherever that they're at. And you take a picture with a flash, and you see these little orbs floating by. Now, are those angelic orbs that are in the body shop that I'm picking up with my camera, because the flash is picking up the dust particles in the air and the stuff that's floating around? No, it's dust particles in the air. It's things in the air, things that we don't normally see with our eyes, let alone in low lighting. But the camera picks it up, and it picks up. Okay, that's a little bit of a rant, but the fact that people are really wanting supernatural connections with the angelic in particular realms and denominations, and they want to have they want to be this physical being having supernatural experiences to such a point that they're willing to let down their guard and be deceived. And yeah, Tammy, you're a photographer. Digital anomalies. I mean, this is what what it's all about. And so what else do we have to do? We have to go and not just, we just have to present truth, not to go and say, guys, you're just really off your rockers, because the only thing that does is it creates a barrier and a wall. And so, we take these platforms. And so when I say these things, I'm not trying to denigrate any type of group or disrespect them or anything like that. I just say, we need to step back and look at it, because in the search with the connection of the supernatural, let's not, throw certain physics out the window, or let's not just try to let our imagination go too wild on us, because we could really, we could lead a lot of people astray. We could also really maybe start seeking things that are not God. And the point is, and this is what the angel reality of the 1980s was, is that people were really more, they wanted the supernatural and the angelic relationship more than they wanted Yah. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. They really didn't want a relationship. They wanted a relationship with the supernatural dimensions of our reality, but without the responsibility and the accountability of our Creator, who has written for us particular standards by which he outlines within his word. That's why we study Torah. And he outlines these things, and he says, this is my kingdom, and I want you to be part of my kingdom. And if you hold these things dear to me, I want you to be my bride, because you will think like I think, and you're gonna love what I love, and you're gonna hate what I hate. And in this reality of understanding the mitzvot, these commands and commandments that are written for us, then you get to experience the fullness of life that I really have for you. And what is that experience of life? And that is, well, a lot of times we might put it in the category of Deuteronomy chapter 28, where we have the blessings and the curses. I want the reality of the blessings. I don't want the reality of the curses. And in order for me to benefit from the reality of the blessings, it is on my shoulders. It's upon me to shema, to hear, to do, to listen, to obey, to guard, and to protect. It is upon me to search these things out. It's not as if I am perfect in all of these ways, but my heart is desiring the maturing to perfection in all of these ways. And that's what the Father's looking for. So this is why, that's why we're studying these things out. That's why we're going back to Enoch, because Enoch, you say, well, Enoch is pre-Torah. He's pre-Torah, just instructions of Yahweh. The instructions of life. That's what Yeshua always pointed back to. And since he is the way, the truth, and the life, which is a metaphor also for the Torah, for the first 5 books of the Bible, but all of the instructions of Yah, from the Torah to the Ketazim to the Nitzurim to the Brit Hadashah, all of it, all of the writings of the prophets and the New Testament, the apostolic writings, it's all instructions for us. And sometimes we just need that Brit Hadashah perspective, because they allow us to expand and give us a volume of understanding of what those Torah principles are. So it all works together, right? And so that's why we're back at Enoch. So I'm getting to Enoch. So we've gone through all of that, a little diatribe, but for a purpose. And that purpose is to kind of put these things into perspective, because I think we have this relationship. We do have a relationship with the angelic, but it's never to where it falls in, like someone mentioned earlier. Yeah, Lou said this, angel worship. It is not there, because what are the angels doing? They're watching us. They're looking at us. They know about this relationship with the Most High, and they look upon us saying, wow, what an amazing creation that the Father has made by giving people, human beings like you and I, a free will in order for us to navigate through the waters of light and darkness, to navigate through all of the elements of creation and all of the challenges and all of the the blessings and the curses and all these different things. And as we navigate through this, what's happening? They're seeing a transformation taking place. They see a bride getting herself ready. They see a beautification process, and they see a bride fit to marry the elect one, the Ancient of Days, the Yeshua HaMashiach, Mashiach. They see in amazement this transformation, and this transformation of a people over over millennia, right? So, and here we are, closing out, the 6,000 years, closing out, this time and this time period, and by which, Yeshua is looking longingly at a bride that's becoming more and more beautiful every day. And I want to be, I don't want to be just a wedding guest sitting at a table. I don't want to be just part of the wedding party that's with the bride and the bridegroom. I want to be of those that are of the bride, and that is able to be sequestered away for those special days, those 7 days, and then to be announced and pronounced before all of the wedding guests and the wedding party that says, "Here is my bride," and and that's that special time that we'll all share and enjoy and feast before Yah, and then after the fulfillment of 1 year, that the bridegroom goes and destroys all of the works of Hasatan, throwing him into chains and captivity for 1,000 years, ruling and reign. What a beautiful thing that'll be. And so why? Well, what's all this about? It's all about, so think about it this way. This journey with Enoch is this whole journey of preparation. It's a preparation for the greater Exodus. It's that Ezekiel chapter 20 reality. It's that reality of being passing under the rod and being selected from amongst the group. And so, yeah, so a lot of that. Those are things that I daydream about, by the way, and I think about that. And there's certain things that when you come across within Scripture and how it's like, wow, that's just so amazing. And what's it going to be like? And am I walking this walk to the point that the Father looks at me and says, yeah, this bride is good. This bride. I mean, that I'm if I'm just an elbow or a pinky knuckle or just the area behind the kneecap or whatever, as long as I'm part of that, of the body of the bride, I just to be in those, called in those numbers, and that's my heart. So last week, I think where we left off, we got through chapter 57, and I think we were getting into the chapter 58. And in chapter 58, we see some agitation going on in the heavenly realms. Chapter 58, in the 500th year, and in the 7th month, and on the 14th day of the month of the lifetime of Enoch, in that parable, I saw that the heavens of heaven shook, that it shook violently, and the powers of El Elyon and the angels, thousands and thousands and myriads of myriads, were agitated with great agitation. And when I looked, the Ancient of Days was sitting on the throne of his glory, and while the angels and Kedoshim were standing around him, a great trembling came upon me, and terror seized me. Well, hold on right now. Wait. Check this out. So Enoch is saying that in the 500th year. All right, now think about this. In the 500th year, counting from Adam. So Adam is, 500 years old at this time, right? That's what it seems like to me. And it's in the 7th month, and it's on the 14th day. What does that make it? It's the eve of Sukkot. And there's a great shaking going on in the heavenly realms. That just makes me wonder, and it takes me back. I think we mentioned this before about what is this great agitation, this great shaking, this great thing that takes place. And I always think of the great shaking of Hebrews chapter 12. Let's go to verse 25. So if you got your Bibles and you're looking with me over at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 25, see to it that you do not refuse him who is speaking. For if those did not escape when they refused him, who warned them on earth, much less shall we escape who turn away from him who warns from heaven. All right, let's go on to the next verse. And his voice shook the earth. His voice shook the earth. Sounds like an agitation on earth, right? Kind of like this agitation in heaven that Enoch was talking about. So I think about that, a shaking taking place, an agitation that is shaking, like the agitator in your clothes washer, right? It's an agitator. And his voice shook the earth then, but now he has promised, saying, yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heaven. And this expression, yet once more, denotes the removing of those things which can be shaken as of created things, in order that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we receive a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us show gratitude by which we may offer to Yah an acceptable service with reverence and awe, for our Yah is a consuming fire. So, yeah, that's Hebrews chapter 12, 25 through 29. And so I think about the things that can be shaken in order that those things that cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we have this kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us show gratitude. I mean, think about the kingdom. We're studying the kingdom. I was talking about the kingdom on Shabbat, talking about this thing that is, the protocols of the kingdom. These are all unshakable things. So why is there a great shaking? There has to be a great shaking in order to get the other stuff off of us. I mean, we have to have an agitation. You ever think we use the term like this, I'm really agitated right now. Okay, but why? Why are you agitated? Why do we get agitated? Well, maybe it's because things aren't going our personal way, but maybe that's because the Father is trying to do something in us, and he is shaking us to shake some stuff off of us so that we can, like my handgun that had rust on it, so that the rust can be removed. And so we think about anything that can be shaken will be shaken, and the only thing that will remain is that which cannot be shaken, and that is as of created things, in order that those things which cannot be shaken may remain, and those are the things of the kingdom. Okay, so we have this agitation going on, and it says, and I saw that the heavens of heaven shook, that it shook violently, and that the powers of El Elyon and the angels, thousands and thousands of myriads, were agitated with great agitation. And when I looked, the Ancient of Days was sitting on the throne of his glory, and while the angels and the Kedoshim were standing around him, a great trembling came upon me, and terror seized me. My loins were bowed down and loosened, and my mind was dissolved, and I fell upon my face. The holy Michael, another holy angel, one of the holy ones, was sent, who raised me up. And when he raised me, my ruach returned, for I was incapable of enduring this vision of violence, its agitation, and the concussion of heaven. So think about that. I mean, think about Enoch, because he was human, and this thing that was going on in the heavenly realms, and you have this huge, massive gathering of the angelic, myriads and myriads, thousands and thousands, and it was such an atmosphere that even heaven was trembling. Well, it wasn't like heaven needed to be purified, because it is a very, very holy place, right? Would you not agree? And yet, I think about the ominous, and I don't mean it in an evil sense, but this ominous presence of the Most High, the ominous presence, like this all huge presence of the Most High. That what did it do? It says it made him. My loins were bowed down and loosened. Well, the only thing that I can think of is that he simply collapsed. He collapsed and he fell on his face. I mean, it's like the power of Yah was so huge upon the human body of Enoch that he literally lost full control and fell on his face. And it took Michael to pick him up. And it says my spirit returned. It was like he passed out, and when he raised me up, my ruach returned, my spirit returned, for I was incapable of enduring this vision of violence, its agitation, the concussion of heaven. Then Holy Michael said to me, why are you disturbed at this vision? Hitherto has existed the day of mercy, and he's been merciful and long suffering towards all who dwell upon the earth. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Here's Enoch who walked with Yah, right? I mean, and he was no more. Here's Enoch. He's experiencing this, and he's like, what this is the Most High. This is normal. And what the earth is experiencing right now has been merciful and long suffering towards all who dwell upon the earth. And this is in the year 500, in the 500th year, in the 7th month, on the 14th day. So this extraordinary circumstance really lends to reality of like, how in the world can no pun intended, but that anyone in the world could even survive the great and terrible day of Yah. Because if this is what Enoch experienced here before the throne of Yah in the heavenly realms, and he simply collapses, and here he's the invited guest up there, how in the world, when, no pun intended, that in this creation that we live on, in terra firma, this earth, that anybody that exists upon it could even survive. And here we desire, we hunger for the glory of Yah to come and be with us. We want the glory of Yah to be with us in our quiet times, in our prayer closets. We want the glory of Yah to come and fill our services, and his presence to be here. And when we look at what happens to Enoch, and he lost it, I mean, just completely lost consciousness. And we desire this awesome presence of Yah on the earth. And we think anything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that the only thing that remains is his kingdom. And so I think this is a really powerful imagery that's going on, that Enoch is really showing us. And it says, but when the time shall come, when the power, the punishment, and the judgment, which Yahweh Tzevaoth, so Yahweh, Lord of hosts, has prepared for those who prostrate themselves to the judgment of righteousness, for those who abjure that judgment, and for those who take his name in vain. That day has been prepared for the elect as a covenant, and for sinners as an inquisition. Ouch. Wow. And it says, and in that day shall be disturbed two monsters. I really wish I had like a Strong's Concordance for the Enoch edition, so I could look up some of these words and to be able to go back and say, okay, there's more to this. So I simply have to rely upon the text itself as to get more of an understanding. But first off, this whole idea is for anyone that's even have any doubt, or anybody that's even kind of working through these circumstances in life, and it's like sitting on the fence, like, should I stay or should I go? Should I commit myself completely to Yeshua the Most High, or do I continue to sit on the fence? And or do I just go and just be a sinner because it's just, that's the way I am, that's the way I was raised, that's the way my character is, whatever. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We're talking about some points, and one of these points is that when that time comes and the power of Yah comes upon the earth, there is punishment and judgment. And I want to be on the good side of judgment, because it's prepared for those who prostrate themselves to the judgment of righteousness. But wait a minute. But then the other side of those who abjure that judgment, in other words, those who reject that judgment, who reject the righteousness of Yah, who reject a lifestyle of righteousness, who come up with every excuse saying the Torah doesn't pertain to me today because I have so much knowledge, more knowledge than anybody else, because I've listened to my elders who were trained in the seminaries. And so therefore, I understand that I am just saved by grace. Well, but wait, just hold on there. And it says, and for those who take his name in vain, those who take his name in vain, do you realize that taking his name in vain is not about us? It's more than just using his name as a swear word. That if one who declares allegiance to his name but doesn't do what his master does and follows the lifestyle of his master, who walks in the footsteps of his master, is literally taking his name in vain. It's like saying, I don't have to follow your ways. I just want to carry your name. I want to ask you, does a married woman who takes on the name of her husband that does not walk in agreement with the husband, but goes off and has all sorts of affairs and stuff with other husbands and other men and that type of thing, yet still wants to carry the name, is that woman now blaspheming the name of her husband? Just taking advantage of it, right? So we have to be really careful. Yeah, like Hosea's wife. Yeah. Wow. You think about that. Hosea. Whew. Man, that guy was really obedient to the Father, wasn't he? All right. So going on, that day has been prepared for the elect as a covenant and for sinners as an inquisition. So the covenant of marriage, the covenant of this relationship, this covenant that affirms all that we've walked through in this life, saying, it's more than just the Yeshua piece, the Jesus piece. It's more than that. It's going back and saying, here's my life belongs to Yeshua, and he gave me this covenant, and I'm trying to digest it as fast and as best as I certainly can. And that's what I want to do. And that's my heart in it. And so that's a day that's been prepared for us. And yet for the sinner, an inquisition, a time to stand before the judgment seat of Yah. And he doesn't even have to ask the question. Remember, we went over the judgment seat before, and all he has to do is open up the scrolls. And I think, and the judgments pronounce themselves because the word has been, he watches over his word to perform it. Well, are we watching over his word in our life to make sure we perform his word so that our lifestyle is replicating what he's speaking into us? All right. So going on, and then it talks about these two mountains. And so in that day shall be distributed two monsters, a female monster whose name is Leviathan, dwelling in the depths of the sea, above the springs of water, or above the springs of waters. And then we also have in here a male monster. So a female monster, Leviathan. And I never really put a characteristic or a gender on Leviathan. We've read about Leviathan within the scriptures. And I think Isaiah talks about Leviathan. I didn't go back and relook at those different things. But anyway, used for judgment. These monsters used for judgment. Whose name is, we have this male monster whose name is Behemoth, which possesses on his breast the invisible wilderness. His name, wait a minute, which possesses on his breast the invisible wilderness. His name was Dindayan, in the east of the garden, where the elect and the righteous will dwell, where he received it from my ancestor, who was man, from Adam, the first of men, whom Yahweh Tsabaoth, or Yahweh, Lord of hosts, Yah of hosts, made. Then I asked of another angel to show me the power of those monsters and how they became separated, and how they became separated on the same day, one in the depths of the sea and one in the dry desert. And he said, you, son of Adam, are here desirous of understanding secret things. And the angel of peace who was with me said, these two monsters are by the power of Elohim prepared to become food, that the punishment of Elohim may not be in vain. Then shall children be slain with their mothers and sons and their fathers, and with their fathers. And when the punishment of Yahweh Tsabaoth shall continue, upon them shall it continue, that the judgment of Yahweh Tsabaoth may not take place in vain. After that, judgment shall exist with mercy and long suffering. Wow. So this is pretty intense. And I can't, I'm trying, here I am, I'm putting my head around it, my brain around it like you are right now. It's like, what in the world did he just talk about? Well, why is it food? Well, I'm going to have to go and look that up. Man, we're looking. Oh yeah, Job. Yeah, you guys knew that before I did, right? I knew that. It just totally blanked in my mind. Those who curse it, who curse the day, who are prepared to rouse Leviathan. That's Job 3:8. Job 41:1. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Psalm 74:14. You crush the heads, multiple heads. That's more than one head. Leviathan has more than one head. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. You gave him as food for the creatures of the wilderness. I need to read more. Psalm 104:26. And the ships move along, and Leviathan, which you formed to sport in it. And Isaiah 27:1. In that day, Yahweh will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, with his fierce and great and mighty sword, even Leviathan, the twisted serpent, and he will kill the dragon who lives in the sea. So he shall give him as food. So that's Psalm 74:14. And you broke open springs and torrents. You dried up ever-flowing streams. Yours is the day, yours is the night. You have prepared the light and the sun. So Leviathan, kind of an interesting thing. So more. I want more. Give me more to this story. Leviathan. Well, let's look at some more definitions. Leviathan, the sea monster, dragon, large aquatic animal, perhaps extinct dinosaur, Plesiosaurus. Exact meaning unknown. Says it's absurd. Wait a minute. Some think it's a crocodile, but that's patently absurd. It appears to be a large fire-breathing animal of some sort, just as the bombardier beetle as an explosion producing mechanism, so that the great sea dragon may have an explosive producing mechanism to enable it to be a real fire breathing dragon. Multiple heads. what do they call that in Greek mythology? The multiple head one. You can chop off a head and it has more heads. So, figuratively, the constellation of the dragon, but also the symbol of Babylon, Leviathan, morning. So now we've got some other interesting things because now it's connected to that which is to be in effect eaten. Maybe this is a way to look at it. To be in effect eaten will be where Babylon is destroyed. It's going to be put into the wilderness, taken out of the sea and put on the land and eaten. In other words, completely destroyed in the wilderness. Could be the woman riding upon the beast in Revelation. Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Okay. But what about Behemoth? What about this Behemoth creature? And see, we're doing real-time Yeah, Job 40, verse 15. Behold, Behemoth, which I made as well as you, eats grass like an ox. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. There's just one verse. That's Job. Job 40, verse 5. Oh, my clock just ran out. We're going to have to look at it some more later on. Guys, we're out of time. Well, it's a cliffhanger. We're going to come back and look at Behemoth, and we're going to look at some of these definitions later on. Thank you for being part of Walking in Spirit and Truth this evening. I hope you got something out of it, maybe inspired, maybe to press in more to the Most High, more than you ever have been. And maybe more reason to be inquisitive about our walk with Yah. Well, we'll see you next time. Shalom.
If you missed today's show or want to watch it again or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv where you will find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network. We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lambnetwork.tv website. I'm Sandi Craig, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.